Hello, everyone. Um, I'm dealing with lighting. I know my screen is probably dirty because I'm a mom, so I'm trying to clean it. But I also think it's my lighting. I feel like I need to adjust it. But hi, I know we had a bit of confusion about timing, so hopefully more mamas are going to be able to pour in. But I wanted to just start by saying hello to everyone. I'm Rachel. And I myself am a mom. So just to start, as I try to adjust this lighting because it just feels kind of annoying. If anyone has any questions, please know that I'll answer anything. So ask away. Let me see if this is better. Is that better? Not really. Not really. I'm gonna try to clean my screen a little bit more and see if that's a little better. Sort of. So yes, do's and don'ts to fitness. So just so you know, I know there are a lot of people in our world who like to deem themselves experts, and I don't love that word. But then I realize at this point, I know what I'm talking about. So let's start there. I am going to keep you safe and successful. And my goal for you during this magical, very awe-inspiring yet super scary journey is to feel as equipped as possible and empowered as possible to make informed decisions for your body. And I want you to know that although your body is going through the most magical yet challenging physical journey of your life, it's not over. It's not over for your core. It's not over for your vagina. It can all come back together again. Okay. So we'll start there. I am a mirror trainer, a founding mirror trainer. I'm also a doula, lactation counselor, mother of two boys, 1 and 4 next month. I'm also an actor. I'm born and raised in Oakland, California, and I am in New York. I am now a suburbanite. And I'm here for the cicadas and the crickets, even though I lived in Harlem for a very long time and loved every moment of it. So let's start where we need to start, pregnancy. There's a lot of information or discussion about prenatal and prenatal yoga. And I know a large part of this population are city dwellers. And I know as a New York fitness instructor, so many moms will be like, I don't want to go to like yoga prenatal class. And I'm like, okay. But it's really important, and I know it's COVID, to find a way to find your tribe and to never mother or be pregnant in isolation. It's a very bad idea. Okay. So you want to find your tribe. So a prenatal class or postpartum class is a really fantastic way of just building a tribe. And yes, you may have had friends that have gone through it, but they're not in it in the moment. And so there is something really special about going to a class and be like, my right butt cheek hurts, or I think I might have pubic symphysis, or what's this thing, or this thing. And then another woman's like, yeah, me too. I have this thing. And you're like, oh, are we all having things? It's not just me. And it's like, yes, exactly. It's a validating and beautiful thing. So with prenatal, in your first trimester, you're really safe. Baby is all the way lodged in your pelvis. And so it's protected by bones and your uterus and your abdominal muscles. So there's very little you can do to hurt your baby. Okay. So I would say, and many of us, right, don't even know we're pregnant in those first 12 weeks. So outside of getting rest and eating well and hydrating, as far as your fitness journey, nothing needs to come to a halt, so to speak. Now, if you're lifting cars and CrossFit or something super extreme, or racing jet skis, I would say let's minimize the risk and the impact, because the strain on the body is not a good idea. But if you're a runner, keep running. If you lift weights, you're fine. Now, what happens physically is your uterus is in your pelvis, right? And so as your uterus grows in your second trimester, it's going to start to rise out of the pelvis. And then you start to pop. Not that you're just show is what I mean by popping. So that's when you want to start to think about what is really safe for me to do prenatally. And so you want to start thinking about making sure you're doing your abdominal work in a safe way. So you're going to start to want to forego crunches or forward flexion, twisting. But by week 12, that's going to start to feel odd because you're going to be more aware that there's someone sharing space with you. But the no-nos are crunching and twisting. And then for me, I'm a big advocate of limiting impact. So running, jumping. Now, if you do a couple jump squats here and there, if you do a little jump rope here and there, okay. Only if you know how to properly activate your pelvic floor. And many of us don't. Now, let me be very clear. Impact, i.e. jumping, running, will not hurt your baby. I'm very interested in you staying healthy, you staying strong, your pelvic floor staying extremely functional, both its strength and its flexibility. So what you have to imagine is you're taking said block, right? Or bowling ball, as I usually like to say, and you're bouncing it on your pelvic floor. And so every time you do that, it's creating more stretch, more impact to the pelvic floor. And you have to remember you're pregnant for almost a year. Then if you have a desired vaginal birth, a whole human passes through your pelvic floor. And then postpartum, you need to build that strength back, right? So you don't want to embark on a prenatal fitness journey that does adds a lot of added impact or damage to your pelvic floor. Incontinence is something we discuss a lot postpartum, but it begins and can begin during pregnancy. So what I want everyone to do prenatally and postpartum is their Kegels. So let's talk about Kegels. When we learn about Kegels in our life, we learn that we just want to keep it tight, right? Now, there are some of us that are too tight. And so you have what's called vaginismus, which creates pain with sex. Now, you got pregnant, but you also have to have your baby. So as great it was for you to know how to tighten to enjoy creating your baby or practicing to make your baby, you want to be able to release your pelvic floor muscles to open your vagina to let your baby out, which will prevent tearing, right? Which is really important. So the exercises that I suggest for Kegels are as such. Visualize your pelvic floor, which is like a hammock with a little hole in the middle. And you're going to exhale. I'm like breathing and yawning. It's a thing. Exhale, engage. So yes, that means closing the vaginal and anal outlet and then lifting layer 1, 2, and 3. You have 3 layers to your pelvic floor. So right now, if you have a clean hand or next time you're in the shower, I want you to insert your index finger in your vagina. Exhale, feel the close on layer 1, and then start to visualize a lift to layer 2, and 3 would be the top. And then you want to equally be able to soften and open layer 3, 2, and 1. Okay. So that's where you start understanding your pelvic floor. And it is, if you're looking at this screen going, she wants me to insert my finger in my vagina. Yes, I do. Because guess what? You got pregnant and you're going to have a whole human come out of your vagina. So you can handle an index finger. Okay. You want to understand that. The other reason you want to be really clear about how to work your pelvic floor and relax your pelvic floor is in birth. If you've had a epidural, you might not be able to feel, but if you have the muscle memory from practicing, it's going to come in handy. Okay. So you just start, and this is a big thing. You exhale, engage. You exhale, you lift. It's not the reverse. And there's a lot of us who do the reverse, which is a reverse Kegel, which is very bad because that's going to increase your chances for incontinence or prolapse, which means, right, things start to fall out of our bodies. We don't want that. So you exhale, engage, inhale, soften. And then I want you to do that every day about 10 times. Then I want you to exhale, engage, and hold 10 seconds. Release. Exhale, engage, hold 10 seconds, release. And you repeat that 5 to 10 times. Now, my pregnant moms, this is your practice for pushing. Okay. Or no, we'll do that later. So yes, I'm getting excited. I'm getting ahead of myself. So you do your Kegels. You exhale, engage, and soften, right? And then you're going to try blinks. You don't actually have to blink when you do it, but it's just an exhale, engage, inhale, soften, exhale, engage, inhale, soften, and do that 20 times. And as you get more apt, right, you can pick up the pace, but only if you feel the anus and the vagina engaging, releasing at the same time, fully, both, full engagement, full relaxation. So that's your third exercise. And your fourth exercise is elevators, which is my personal favorite. Just imagine like fancy, shiny golden doors. That's your vagina. And imagine they're on their face. And then you exhale, you close, and then you lift layer 1, layer 2, and layer 3. And then you release layer 3, 2, and 1. Now, when you're in your third trimester and you just had a baby, you're probably like, huh? I don't even think I have a pelvic floor anymore. I can't do it. It comes back, but it's just like riding a bike. You got practice. And I don't want to hear anyone tell me I don't feel like doing my Kegels, because you definitely don't feel like peeing on yourself, right? Right. Okay. And so that's elevators. So you're just going to practice exhale, lift layer 1, 2, and 3, 3, 2, 1. For my visual learners, I want you to imagine that time you've been at an aquarium looking at jellyfish. A jellyfish is a really wonderful depiction of the pelvic floor. So imagine when a jellyfish like shoots to the top of the tank, they close and they lift. So that's what you're doing. If I have any singers in the room, your diaphragm mimics your pelvic floor. So as you lift, it lifts, right? So as you engage or exhale, right, it closes. As you inhale, it flattens. Exhale, close, inhale, flatten. So make that connection. I want to talk physically just about how you are during pregnancy, during your life. I want you to make sure that you're not always leaning back on your sit bones, because the baby's spine is the heaviest part of its body. And you want prime position for baby, which is head down, eyeballs looking at your spine. Okay. And so, which they call occiput, anterior. I had OP babies, which means they were looking forward instead of backwards, without getting too technical. So you want to make sure that you're spreading your legs when you sit, like man spread, and sit on your sit bones or slightly in front. So really get in a habit of doing that and not leaning back in your chair, leaning back on a couch. The other thing we want to get out of the habit of is turning out. So relaxin enters the body around week 16, which makes our joints, all of them, hypermobile. It even makes you a little bit more clumsy. So if you like pick something up and drop it, it is pregnancy brain, but it's really like you just have more mobile joints, which means when you work out or when you are moving through your life, you just want to slow down. Okay. Because you're more apt to trip or roll an ankle or what have you. That added flexibility can be fun when you're stretching or taking yoga or working out, because you're like, yes, I can go deeper, some of us, but you want to still make sure you're being careful. And the most supported position the pelvis can be in is with parallel feet. So don't get in the habit of turning out. And the other thing about the turnout situation is when you turn out, you activate your glutes, okay? And so anyone having glute pain or sciatica, which is the pain that shoots down the leg, will happen when you turn out, okay? So I'm in a position so you guys can see me. Da, 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 da. So it's so easy to get here, right? We want to get out of the habit of standing like we're in high school. If anyone was like me in high school, you stood like this because you thought it was cute, and you also talked in a really high register. But that's not supportive for your core, for your pelvis, and for your baby. So you want to always think about standing like a monkey or a toddler. So you want to have parallel feet. You want to have a neutral pelvis, soft knees, shoulders over hips, hips over knees, knees over ankles. That's how you want to move through your day. Now, when you pick things up, this is my pre and postnatal. You want to make sure you're thinking about your pelvic floor and your core, your transverse abdominals, which connect from the back of your spine and wrap around to the front. Because you're not working out all day. You're just moving through your life, okay? So when you say go to pick up groceries, you go into a squat, functional movement. So you're gonna bend your knees, think about engaging your pelvic floor, your core, your glutes, and then stand up. When you have your baby, you're gonna think, I want you to hear my voice in your head. Rachel said, bend my knees, engage my pelvic floor, my abs, my glutes, exhale, stand. What happens is we do this and we yank from our back and we pull our abs apart. So anybody that's heard of diastasis recti, where we come together at the midline of the body, we can tear and come apart. Well, if we're always standing like this and then we're pregnant, we're just adding to that pull at those muscles. So you want to be very aware that you're helping those muscles out by keeping them engaged, by keeping a neutral pelvis. Now, postpartum, when we're all hyper aware of our extra skin and belly and all of that, we're not realizing if we're standing like this, we're sticking our belly out, right? We're not able to engage abs or pelvic floor with an arched back. So you need to remember postpartum, neutral pelvis, soft knees, engaged core, engaged pelvic floor, so that you can just even move through your day supported. Because once you add a baby to all of this, right, you need to make sure that you're centering yourself during pregnancy and postpartum. Really, really, really important stuff here. Okay. I know people are like, well, what's the exact workout I need to do, Rachel? If you don't understand the basics of how your pelvis, how your Kegels and your pelvic floor and your core function, fitness we're not ready for that yet. So really making sure that you dial into the basics and really have that, and that you're doing your Kegels. And then up next, the most important thing you're going to do is your abdominal toning. Hi, Nicolette. So there was a bit of confusion. We thought we were starting at 7. The Zoom said 7:30. Everything's going to be recorded and you're going to get everything. So don't worry. I have 2 little ones at home. So I compromised and started at 7:15. We're still in the prenatal portion. And then we'll move to postpartum. I just have to be mommy. So I'm trying my best to make sure everyone's taken care of. But if you have anything that you missed, you'll have a recording, and then I will give you guys my information as well. So don't worry. I know everyone's being a great student. Don't worry, you're going to be just fine. And I'll do bullet points at the end. So if you joined a little bit, if you just joined and you're like, ooh, it's okay. I got you, girl. So let's talk about abdominal toning. So transverse abs, some people who throw acronyms around say the TA, it is your corset abdominal muscles. In life, we're very hyper focused on rectus abdominals, and those are your pretty 6-pack muscles. So, if anyone has seen the cover of that movie 300 and all the guys had amazing abs, that's a rectus. The function of rectus abdominals is forward flexion, a crunch. When you're pregnant and postpartum, crunches, not a part of your physical vocabulary, not necessary to build strength at all. Okay. What you need to always be hyper sensitive is I want you to be super aware of your transverse abdominals. So those connect at the spine and they wrap around a la corset, okay, to the front of your body. So diastasis recti, where we come together, we can rip apart. I can't give you some perfect tool to not have diastasis. I can give you tools to try to prevent the increased risk of you having it or making it worse postpartum. But some people just get it and some people don't. Most of us will get some degree of it. So where you're going to find that is like right around the belly button. And the way you can test it is to lie on your back postpartum. And if your fingers can continue to go into your belly, then there's a separation of your abs because your fingers are just like going in to touch your organs, right? And there's like 1 finger, 2 finger, 3 finger. I've met a person that had 10 finger. We want to prevent that, right? Diastasis. Now, it can come back, and I'll get to like how to do that. But prenatally, where you're going to see it is if your tummy is, when you have a baby in your belly is round. Now, if you go to like sit up and your belly starts to look like a cone head, that's a sign that you probably have started to get the first signs of diastasis. So little things during our day that we want to focus on to prevent that is when we get out of bed, we don't sit straight up because that's a crunch, right? That's you not properly activating pelvic floor and core and then sitting up. That's you just ripping your abs apart to sit up. Okay. So I want you to just, and some days you're going to feel like an old lady or a beached whale and all those things, but just roll over anytime you're going to get up. If you're doing a yoga class, a Pilates class, whatever fitness class you're doing, this is how you're getting up. And this is how you're getting up out of your bed. Really important. You roll over and you use your top hand to help you sit up, and then you sit up. Okay. But I want you to think about that. This is prenatal and postpartum. That's how you're getting up out of bed. That's how you're getting up off the floor, period. End of story. No other options. Since I'm there talking about the bed, I need you prenatally to have a big pillow between your knees always, because you want your knee to live in line with your hip while you're sleeping. The left side is the best side for circulation. Okay. This is me like tossing my doula knowledge in for you too. And baby is fine if you need to sleep on your right side. Okay. But you don't want to like have your knees touching and your pelvis twisting and all of that jazz, right? You want the pelvis stacked. Better for you, better for baby. And so anyways, that is abdominal toning. So, or your transverse abdominals. So how you work them out is you exhale, right? And you want to feel like you're just hugging your baby or hugging the abs to the midline of the body. And then inhale, soften. And then exhale, hug the abs into the midline of the body and soften. And what's so cool about this is once you've popped and you have said baby in your belly, right? You can actually see your stomach shrink. And you're like, oh my God, I'm so strong. I can like shrink my belly. It's fun. If you're like, what are you talking about? It's that moment when you laugh and your tummy moves or, shrinks and expands. Those are your transverse abdominals. So to start, just so you learn how to activate them, you just exhale, engage, inhale, soften. Then practice for pushing. My pregnant moms, you're going to do all this abdominal toning without doing a Kegel. The only time you do it is when you poop. So imagine when you are sitting on the toilet, like, I really need to poop so bad. And you just are squeezing your transverse abdominals and relaxing your pelvic floor and your anus to go poop. That's giving birth. So that's what you want to practice with your transverse abdominals. So you exhale, engage, and I want you to hold 10 seconds, but relax your pelvic floor. You're going to count to 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Deep inhale, exhale, hug, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more time. Exhale, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take a breather and then do it again. Because in a traditional birth setting, that's how you'll be coached to push. So when you have a contraction, you want to know how to activate your transverse abdominals, relax your pelvic floor, and get that baby out. Okay. So you must practice. Even though you're pregnant, you still have abs and you want them to maintain their strength to help you push your baby out. Okay. So that everyone's going to practice that 10-second hold. If you're postpartum, You're not relaxing your pelvic floor because your baby's out. You're engaging your pelvic floor and your transverse abdominals, putting everything back together again for those 10 seconds. Inhale and relax. Okay. We got that? I'll get back to it. So be very clear, pregnant moms, everybody. You're never engaging your core and not your pelvic floor during your life or during a workout. You're only doing that practice for pushing exercise to practice for pushing, where you exhale, engage your core and not your pelvic floor. I want to be very clear about that. Okay. Now, you've just had your baby, and society and Instagram say you should have a flat belly. And if you breastfeed, you'll lose all the weight. And breastfeeding's easy. And you should do this and you should do that. And don't do this and don't do that. Okay. I'll tell you right now. Your body, your baby, your journey. Every baby's different. Every body is different. Every postpartum situation, support system, finances, everybody is different. Okay. So what I need you to do is know that it is your journey. And that is all that matters. And what I'm going to give you are tools to feel successful. Okay. In that journey. But what it starts with, I know all of you guys are like, I'm gonna log on and she's going to give me all the perfect tools to work out and snap back. No, what I'm going to tell you is how to heal and how to build strength and then reach every fitness goal that you ever wanted. What I will not do to you is lie and tell you, oh, 3 weeks postpartum, 6 weeks postpartum. Oh yeah, you got it, girl. And then you should be that. No. There are so many people out there, and this is for your mind, your spirit, and your body. You must be hyper aware of the information or the people that are in your head affecting you. Okay? Do not push yourself to do something you are not ready to do. Samuel, personal experience. My first son, I pushed for 3 hours. He had a 98 percentile head. I didn't want to do a jumping jack for 9 months. I was never incontinent and I didn't tear, but my vagina needed that time before I was doing a jumping jack. Because when I opened my legs, I was like, I'm not ready for that. Baldwin, I was ready to go for a light jog and felt very strong. And he's my second kid and I'm 37. So I share that personal journey with you to share that you just don't know what life is going to serve you or your birth or your body. Okay. So be ever present and honest with yourself. Now, 6 weeks means nothing. 6 weeks means you probably are done bleeding and that a doctor will clear you for intercourse. 6 weeks is not a clearance for fitness. And it for damn sure isn't in like our world of fitness. When they made that rule, like no one was going to Soul or Berries or had a mirror or a Peloton. That wasn't a thing. So be very prudent about what it is you choose to come back to. I want no running, no jumping, no crunches at 6 weeks. This is Kegels, gentle stretching, a walk. Your walk might be a block because that's what you can handle. A walk might be 10 blocks. I don't know. But you need to listen to your body and build that. Okay. Molly has a question. You have a question. Running an ab work. Oh, see, I think I just answered it. You're running for stop. Okay. Yes. Great. So we had a question that was about running. There are so many ways to lose weight, right? That do not, or burn calories or elevate your heart rate that do not include high impact. Okay. And for my runners, I love y'all. I am not a runner. I'm just not, but I know your secret. You do it for this and not this. I know that. You do it for that rush. So I just need you to like find something else that's going to give you that adrenaline rush. Boxing, dancing, kettlebell swings, you know what I mean? And maybe it's spinning. Spinning is huge. Yes, I'm a mirror trainer, but I have a lot of Peloton friends and I'm not anti-spin, but I need the mamas in the room to be very careful about spinning. Okay. I'm just going on this because I know people are like, oh, if I don't run, I'll cycle. Only if your form is awesome, right? So let me show you for my spinners in the building. We have all been in that class where they're like, and pick up the pace. And this is what you're doing with your pelvis. Okay. Never a good idea in life. But if you're pregnant, what that's doing to your pelvis is this. When you need to give birth, you need a pelvis in alignment for your baby to pass through. There's already not a lot of space. So if it's misaligned, no bueno for you, no bueno for baby. Okay. The other thing is if you're not engaging your core and your glutes, your abs are doing this. We talked about diastasis. If you're on a bike doing this, your abs are separating and not engaging. You are putting your body at risk for having a higher risk of diastasis. Not a good idea. So if you spin, move your saddle back, keep your booty in the saddle, crank up that resistance, enjoy the burn, you're good to go. There's no jumping out the saddle going crazy fast, pre or post. And post, you're even more vulnerable because you do not have your strength. You must rebuild your pelvic floor and your ab strength. So there's no jumping out of a saddle. For a long time, everyone's different, but like for 6 months, for what? There's other ways to work your body. And I promise you, after 2 kids, I knew this information before I was a mom, but I'm here to tell you, I've just tried. I put it to the test. Me and many other thousands of other women on the mirror. Okay. So it's not that you're going to not achieve your goals. You're going to be healthy from the inside, right? Pelvic floor, mental, emotional, out, physical. That's always been Rachel's approach to fitness. I happen to be a thin framed woman, but fitness for me is as much about the inside as it is that. Molly, did I answer your question? Okay, test. So we started a little early. So I did cover prenatal. I'll do bullet points at the end. I'm going to do post. So postpartum, it's tough, right? You are trying to figure out when you're ready. And it has everything to do with your pelvic floor and your core. So I want every day during your prenatal journey and your post to involve chest openers, like stretching, upper back strength. So like reverse flies, rows, kickbacks, because everything about pre and postnatal are going to take you here. Okay. And I want you to have that balanced body of strength and flexibility. So that's important. If you're making a list, chest openers, tricep stretch, interlace fingertips, open heart lift, right? That kind of business. Then strength of a row, a kickback, a reverse fly. Boom. I know we don't all have a lot of time. So the boom, boom. Then Kegels, engage on the exhale, inhale, soften. Engage on the exhale, hold 10 seconds. Blinks, 20 to 40. Exhale, inhale, inhale. And then elevators, exhale, engage, layer 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. Transverse abdominals, exhale, engage, inhale, relax. Exhale, engage 10 seconds. Do it again, do it again, do it again. Take a break, repeat that 5 times. That's your practice for pushing for my pregnant mamas without doing a Kegel. If you've had your baby, you're doing your Kegels and your ab toning at the same time. Now, from there, you can go do a bar class, but you're not doing the ab work of crunches. But you could do bridges, you could substitute your ab toning and your Kegels. So what I'm giving you is a toolbox. So you can grab this toolbox, right? Where's my box? You're grabbing your box and you're saying, Rachel, I love doing Pilates. Well, here's the thing with Pilates, right, moms? It's all mainly forward flexion or glute work. So if you love that Pilates instructor, then you're not doing a roll up. You're not doing hundreds. You're saying, I'm going to sit up and work on my Kegels and my ab toning. And then I'm going to do clam and I'm going to do bridge and I'm going to do all the glute work I love, side lying, etc. Fine, modify. If there's a kickboxing class you love, amazing. But then when they lay on the floor and do V-ups, you're not doing that. You're doing your ab toning, your Kegels. Okay. I'm trying to think what else. If there are specific classes that you love, just modify. If you love high impact, do low. If they do a squat jump, you do a squat to a heel raise. Right? So it's not that you can't have what you desire, you modify. If they're jump roping in your boxing class, then you just do the jump rope like it with your hands and not maybe a real one without the actual jumping. If it's a jumping jack, you do a step touch to the side and focus on your pelvic floor. Yes? Yeah, dancing is amazing. Okay. I love this question. Thank you. I don't know if people want to be called out, but okay. So these belly bands, no, do the work. I'm not here to poo-poo on any company, but what happens is, what I'm a fan of immediate postpartum is like a postpartum legging that's giving you support and helping you with edema or swelling. I was a fan of Bao Bay is a small company. Their founder is a PT, so I trust her design. She also makes a belly support band prenatally. But these waist trainers and all of that is not good because, ladies, this is what's happening. You're squeezing this, but where does that pressure go? Out. Okay. So just in a functional way, pre and post for the rest of your life, when you're about to sneeze, do a Kegel, ha-choo. When you're about to laugh, do a Kegel, ha ha ha. When you're about to jump, Kegel, jump. So then everything's coming out. But if you're squeezing and then coughing, everything's coming out at the bottom. So you don't want all that added pressure when your pelvic floor has just been traumatized. You need to be working on bringing things together at the same time. Does that make sense? I beg of you, those nights when you haven't slept well, to stay the F off of Instagram. Okay. Because you're going to have people that are like, I just had a baby and I look like this and I'm in central pain and my life is perfect and my kids sleep through the night and I'm snatched to capacity. Well, she might be. I mean, maybe, but we all know that ain't the whole story. And you might see a woman who just had a baby with a six-pack who has to wear a diaper every day because she has prolapse. You don't ever know the full story. Okay. So what I do not want is you pressuring yourself to look like someone else or have someone else's story because you don't know the whole story. What I need you to do in those moments where you're comparing yourself or feeling like you should be somewhere else, delete the word should from your vocabulary. Please just hear my voice going, it's my journey. And if you didn't sleep, it's going to be a much harder day. You will go down that route of comparing yourself. For all the breastfeeding moms in the house, you're going to at least maintain an extra 10 pounds of fat around your belly button, in your triceps, and through your bra line to create milk for your baby. You also need to eat an extra 500 calories a day for your baby to produce the milk. I hear a lot of women ask me about intermittent fasting. Please do not do that. No. Okay. Let's see. Planks. This is a great question. So I have come up with this exercise that I'm like obsessed with because so many of us don't do planks the right way. So what I call it is tabletop knee taps. And it looks like this. I want everyone to like rethink their planks. So what you're going to do, go ahead and do it with me because this is something I want you to feel as I say it. Come into a tabletop position. Okay. And I want you to exhale, look at your belly, engage your core, your pelvic floor. So remember, pelvic floor, you're doing a Kegel, it's vaginal and anal, you're hugging your abs in towards the midline, right? And then you inhale, you gaze up. So when you arch your back, your belly hangs, right? Your sit bones expand. You cannot do a Kegel or engage your core with your back arched. Not possible. It's not. Now, I want you to tuck your tailbone. You're going to start to feel your engagement of your core, see the flattening of your abs and your low back. Now on the exhalation, you're going to float your knees off the floor. Good. Inhale, tap. Don't arch your back, but you can expand the belly. Shh. Exhale, hug your abs in, float your knees up off the floor. Doing a Kegel. Good. Inhale down. This is an excellent core exercise pre and postnatally. What I want you to get in the habit of, like, actually get a mirror and put it underneath your tummy, pre and postnatal, and look at the muscles working to come together. That is the work. That's the most important thing. If you're doing a Kegel, if you feel your pelvic floor engage, your abs are engaging. Okay, they're connected. So the second your pelvic floor activates, your core activates. It's a thing. All right, they can't work separately. So the pelvic floor is the foundation for your strength, period, point blank. Now with planks, what we do to hold them is arch our back. So even a modified plank, right? Often we're here. A full plank, same thing. We're here. How many of us have seen people do this, or we're that person? So you are not engaging your pelvic floor if your body looks like this. It's not possible. Tuck your tailbone, engage, hug your abs in. Pre and postnatal, I need you modifying always. I'm fine with you doing it, but you need to engage your pelvic floor and your transverse abdominals. Now, I add a little bit of movement where I'm thinking about pulling my elbows to my knees to my elbows. Most of us dome our back in a plank. That does nothing for your core. So think about tucking your tailbone. Kind of feels like holding a fart to do a Kegel, right? That's the feeling. And then inhale, soften, right? Exhale, pull elbows to knees, knees to elbows, hug abs into the midline of the body. Now, a lot of us postpartum are confused if we have diastasis because we have fat that hangs, skin that hangs. It sucks. When you're in that moment in your life, you're like, this sucks. It sucks. It's not your favorite thing. It's okay. But you have abs under said skin and fat. Okay. So I'm not worried about your skin coming together or the fat coming together. I'm wanting you to understand your core. So postpartum, I really, when you do your ab toning, I want you to get in the habit of going, shh, exhale, push those bad boys together. Okay. And really understand that you're trying to get your muscles to come back where they belong. And if you want to do a plank and you feel like you can bring those muscles to the midline of your body, then you can do a plank. Not straight leg, but modified. I would prefer everyone do a tabletop knee tap that I just taught you and really feel those muscles coming together, that pelvic floor engaging, and then do it again. Why take a progression if you're not ready for it? For who? For what? Why? We're in a culture of this like super competitive. I'm more competitive than they come. But guess what I don't want to do? Pee on myself. I want my vagina to work. Even if that means I have a few extra pounds. You know what I mean? Like, so you got to think about the risk and the benefit. You know what I mean? Like, we want things to maybe work to have another baby or to practice having another one. Okay, let's see. Yes, did I answer the question about planks? About Pilates. I think I already answered that without even reading. Okay, yes, reformer. I love it. I used to teach at Flex in New York, kind of like a SLT, and I'm obsessed. No, girl. Okay, so here's the thing with the reformer. It's so extreme. You know, it's really, really intense. Allie, if I call you out, what are you wanting to do? Like, so there's no forward flexion. You're not on your back doing any crunches, any hundreds. No. So once second trimester comes, we're not crunching. No forward flexion, right? Postpartum, same thing, ladies, even more so, because you're going to see it's don't get scared, but it's like a balloon that just deflates. That balloon is not ready for hundreds yet. You got to build that back. So what you do is the abdominal toning and your Kegels, and then slowly you'll start to feel it come back. But much of this is healing. A PT I talked to about your pelvic floor is like, the body needs about 6 months for the pelvic floor to do what it's going to do just on its own. So if then you're adding load to that, you're making that a harder healing process. The PT I'm very close with about like transverse abdominals, she's super conservative, but she's like in the 6 to 9 months before we're like crunching, and definitely not bicycling, right? It's not that you might not be ready to do it. So if you want to private with me, email me at hello@rachelnix.com, and I can say, okay, with your specific situation and looking at your body, I feel like you're ready for X, Y, and Z. Looking at your body, let's start here, right? So just, again, I'm giving you, I'm such a visual learner and an actress. I'm like, here's my basket. You have tools, just toss them in and be honest with yourself when you're ready to like, needing to modify or ready to progress. Okay. Making sure I'm answering everyone's questions. I think, anybody other, 3 months I already can't stop. Okay. All right. So someone asked about their 3 months postpartum and they're peeing a lot. Okay. So I just want to break down what's happening with your body. I mean, other than creating a whole human, you already are having some pressure at 3 months of a uterus on your bladder. So some of that could just be positioning, okay, of where the baby is. So I want to give you guys some tools prenatally about getting baby in optimal position or relieving the body of stress from pressure of the baby. So if you are, number one, do your Kegels. Number two, it could just be the position of baby sitting there. So a cat-cow is really great, and hip circles. This is great to just kind of dislodge baby out of your pelvis and reposition baby to give you more comfort. Now, some of us have what's called pubic symphysis. It's an extreme pain because the pelvis is separating. If that is you, then you need to do supported bridge. Lie on your back, right? With some pillows or yoga blocks under you, like so, right? And really just get baby dislodged off of your pelvis to give your pelvis relief, low back relief, etc. If anyone is dealing with glute pain or sciatica, tried and true, I've done all the things, including acupuncture and chiropractic services. I swear to you, this stretch. Separate your feet wider than your hips, touch your knees together, flip your palms, sit here for 10 minutes. And then you get up like so, you roll to your side, you come up, and it's going to save your life. Because what it's doing is resetting your pelvis. So it might feel a little like, what's happening? Something's happening. It doesn't hurt, but it's weird. You're resetting your pelvis and stretching your low back muscles. And you need to do that because pregnancy creates a lot of tension, in your pelvis and in your low back, and your glutes are firing all the time to balance you out. So that's important. Yeah. So remember, I had a checklist for my prenatals about what you're going to do. You're going to do your Kegels, chest stretches, abdominal toning, that stretch, boom, amazing. Postpartum, that stretch is also important to reset your pelvis because your pelvis goes through a lot as baby passes through birth canal. For my C-section moms, you absolutely are a postpartum mom. Just because you didn't have a baby pass through your pelvic floor, you had a baby sitting on your pelvic floor during pregnancy. So Kegels, ab toning, all equally as important. What I would add for you is to massage your scar. So I literally want you to take your scar and pull it away from your pubic bone and break up the scar tissue so you can start to have sensation back in that area and rebuild your strength. C-sections are no damn joke, okay? And so you want to make sure you also care for yourself. You also bleed, so you too need pads and all of that postpartum. We don't always talk about this. I want to talk, I know we were talking about fitness, but it's incontinence and pain with sex called vaginismus postpartum are not discussed enough. Incontinence has been extremely normalized, and it really enrages me. There's no need for you to get to the point of incontinence or prolapse to the point where you need mesh surgery. You need to do your Kegels and your abdominal toning. But we're in a culture that puts a lot of pressure on women postpartum to be thin and to be fit right away. And everyone's journey is different. So make sure, please, you work from the inside out and heal and rest and build from there, right? I encourage everyone, although it's not supported or covered many times by insurance, and it can be very expensive, but every mom postpartum to go to a pelvic floor therapist to understand the functioning of their pelvic floor. It's a really intricate, intake, but it's super helpful. Some of us know how to do a really strong front Kegel, but we're really weak in the back, or we're strong on the left side and not the right, or we had tearing on this side and not that side. That PT can also help you if you do have scar tissue from tearing from birth, to give you positions if you have a male partner that are more comfortable for you to have intercourse. I'll tell you, mine told me, a lot of times if you have a male partner, you enter at 12 o'clock, but it's better for the urethra, to enter at 10 or I know I'm mirroring. I'm like, wait, what is this? 1 or 10. So basically avoid 12 o'clock penetration, and these sides are better. And if you're peeing a lot during pregnancy, it's normal for a lot of reasons. Postpartum, you want to start challenging your bladder to hold it a little longer. What I mean by that is it's a muscle. So it's super overactive because of hormones, extra hydration, and just a baby sitting on your bladder during pregnancy to have to go all the time. But postpartum, you want to train your bladder to at least be able to get through a night of rest without peeing the entire time. Because you basically program it. So if you're used to peeing every hour, then your body's like, I gotta pee. And you might not really need to, so you can hold it a little bit longer. Any other pressing questions? I just am like trying to make sure I'm giving everyone a loaded toolbox to feel successful. I want to put in the chat my information. It's hello at rachelnix.com. My Instagram is Rachel E. Nix. And I founded a nonprofit called Birth Queen to combat the Black maternal health crisis, because Black women die at 3 to 5 times the rate as white women in childbirth, and 12 times the rate in New York City. And our babies are 3 times as likely not to make it to their first birthday. So I have committed my life to changing that. And if you could at least follow us on Instagram, or donate, or reach out to me if you have other desires to support, I would greatly appreciate it. I just want you all to know I'm just a normal mom. I've got all these like nuggets and wisdom and tools, and I just want to share it and make sure that you can feel as supported and empowered as possible. If anything was confusing or you have a more specific question, please, I promise you, reach out to me. I'm happy to answer. If you're having challenges, all I can say is we all have been there. The morning always comes. So look forward to that on those hard days. Give yourself grace and really know during this journey that you are a superhero, because you're creating life. Okay, so I have another question about third trimester workouts. Okay, so I spoke about the bike because you mentioned you're a Pelotoner. So I'm cool with you being on the bike, mama, but I need you to be super aware about your positioning on the bike. So I want you to move your saddle back, right? And make sure you're not tilting your pelvis forward, which can be very hard when you're in the third trimester with all that weight. So you need to make sure you have a neutral pelvis. You're hugging your abdominals in, you feel your glutes, your pelvic floor, and your abs. You have a lot of resistance, and you move that saddle back so you feel glutes, okay? That's safe. What cannot happen on a bike ever, especially pregnant and postpartum, is this business where we're riding and it really looks like we're salsa dancing. Horrible for your back. It means you're not engaging your core, your pelvic floor, you're increasing your risk of diastasis. Now, the diastasis starts when you're pregnant, but you can make it worse postpartum. So if you have a baby and you start jumping into exercises and you're not engaging your pelvic floor and your core, you can boom, 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 make it worse. Same thing with your pelvic floor. If you're not engaging, you can give yourself incontinence or prolapse. I know way too many women who've hopped back on bikes or hopped back on treadmills too soon and are having to go get mesh surgery as a result. And their OB said, oh yeah, you're ready, 6 weeks, go ahead. Your OB doesn't know what your fitness routine is. And they're not pelvic floor therapists. And they don't know if you had diastasis. They don't always check. So make sure you know that if you have diastasis, check, have them check. And not all of them know how. So they're like, oh yeah, you ready to work out? Fine, you're good. They don't necessarily know that. Hold on. Oh, is it not showing? Sorry. I said panelists and attendees. That's weird. You guys couldn't see my info. Let's see. You see it? Okay, good. hello@rachelnix.com. My Instagram is Rachel E. Nix, and my nonprofit is birthqueen.org. Bar and sculpt. Yes. Okay. So I have a funny little anecdote, right? So for third trimester, when I was pregnant with my last son and my aunt was in town, she's in her 70s. And I was like, I just feel so heavy. And she's like, you are. And I was like, okay. Like, I think we forget we feel really tired and heavy because we have like a whole human inside of us, right? So again, a lot of how I opened our session tonight is our mindset and how we're approaching this journey of our life. And you must be more realistic and give yourself grace in that regard. How to help with posture from breastfeeding. Okay. So putting on my lactation counselor hat, this is a very large baby, but my kid is almost this size and still breastfeeding. What happens when we have a newborn and they're like literally like a rag doll? It's literally like breastfeeding a t-shirt because they have like no muscle tone yet. You are so like wanting to give them the breast perfectly that you're doing all of this to your body and like trying to chase them with a boot. Nope. You're going to get that pillow, right? Get that breast out. And when they go like a baby bird, then you just enter boobie, done. Okay. Really watch yourself with this. That's why chest openers, rolling shoulders back and down, all of this stuff where you interlace and pull or reverse prayer, but not this, right? Really making sure you're opening your chest. So super important. And this stuff can be when you have 3 seconds to shower with a crying baby sitting next to the toilet. Just like, okay, Rachel said I need to do my Kegels and my chest openers. So the baby's gonna cry for like 35 seconds while water rushes down your face and you might be crying and you're like, I don't know if I'm ever gonna get my Kegels back, but Rachel said do my Kegels and my chest hurts and my neck hurts. And you're just gonna say, okay, I'm gonna do these 3 stretches because that's all I have time for because now my baby's hungry again and I'm never gonna have any time to myself again. It's not true. It's going to feel like that, but you have to prioritize yourself. You have to eat. You have to do your pelvic floor exercises. You can do your Kegels while you nurse your baby. You can do your ab toning while you change your doo-doo diaper. You can do your Kegels while you take a walk down the block, right? So it doesn't have to be this like, I get an hour with like beautiful candles to focus on me. Some people have that reality, most people don't. Okay. But just because you don't have some perfect hour or 30 minutes to yourself doesn't mean you can't get it done. So you better put that baby on the floor next to you and prioritize yourself for 10 minutes with the baby. Even if they're a little fussy, they'll survive. They'll be okay. Because guess who needs to be okay for them to be okay? They mama. Right? Nobody's good if mommy's not good. Sciatica and hip pain during pregnancy. I touched on the beginning. I'll touch on it really quick. Parallel feet, parallel, 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 parallel. Do not turn out ever. Don't turn out while you're sleeping. Don't turn out while you're standing. If you turn out like this, it ignites that muscle shooting pain. Okay. So you want to be like a monkey or a toddler, feet parallel, knees soft, pelvis neutral. You also want to do like a figure 4 stretch or cross your ankles and touch your toes to stretch. Lie on your back, right? And grab your big toe, cross the leg across your body. You want to lie on your back, that bridge pose I taught a couple minutes ago with your feet wider than your hips, your knees touching, just lay there 10 minutes. Epsom salt baths, cheap fix. 2 cups of Epsom salt, soak 20 minutes throughout your pregnancy. And when you feel like putting your vagina back in water postpartum, it'll change your life. Okay, truly. Let's see, any more questions? Oh, good posture, pushing your stroller. Okay. Really hard if you're a super tall mom, but most strollers nowadays come pretty high. So just make sure you're not pushing like this, right? So what happens is we start to push from here and we all look like we're 195. So you want to find that strength. So I talked about strengthening the upper back. So light dumbbells, reverse flies, row, but so many of us row like this. No. You're rowing like this. You're pulling your elbow back to your waist to a kickback to build that upper back strength. 2 simple exercises just to build that upper back strength, paired with the stretch. You're golden. Paired with ab toning pelvic floor work. Remember, when you pick up your baby, they're so heavy in that stupid car seat, okay? Do not do like this to pick them up. You got to think about all that I'm teaching you. Don't do what I'm telling you just when you work out. You don't have that much time to work out. So you're not going to build your strength in that little bit of time. You got to think about what I'm giving you throughout your day. Anytime you pick anything up, pelvic floor, core, glutes, exhale, get up. You're going to be picking up a whole lot of things for the rest of your life as a mom. So if you don't use this information, you're going to be suffering because you're never rebuilding that strength. Okay? Because you're never just going to have all this time to work out. Unless, you're like 8 nannies and then I'm jealous. It's great. I mean, good for you. Then you're fine. Let's see. I've been sleeping on my left side of the left knee. Okay. So I'm on my bed. I'm gonna show you, and then I gotta go be mommy. Okay, so you're on your bed like this, right? The pelvis is perfectly, so the bottom leg can be straight. And what you're gonna do, the top leg can be on that pillow with your knee in line with your hip. Now, what you're gonna do is just shift your weight like that. So it's not directly on that left hip. Does that make sense? So the knee is still in line with the hip. That's the most important. But the pelvis isn't stacked. So all of that weight is not dipping into that bottom hip. So all you're going to do is keep the knee in line with the hip, but shift forward. Now, if you're super duper pregnant, there's not a whole lot of shifting you're going to do, but your baby's fine. They're like swimming in an ocean. So it's not like you're not going to crush them. They'll be okay. And trust me, if they don't like it, they'll just kick you. Baldwin used to do that. I'd be like, mommy. Okay. Yay. I answered your question. I love you guys. I've got to do bath time and bedtime. I think I answered everything. Again, hello@rachelnix.com, Rachel E. Nix on the gram. And if for any reason I don't respond to you, it's just because I have kind of 2 kids and 8 jobs. So just remind me, because I have mommy brain. It's not personal, I promise. Just give me grace because I need it too. Rib pain. Okay, let me answer this. And then, okay. So rib pain is a thing, right? We're expanding all over the place. With your abs and your ab toning, you've got to be aware of your ribs. So my new thing is French doors, because I really want to buy new French doors in my new house, but I got to wait because I've spent all the money. So what we do when we arch our back, right, and anteriorly tilt our pelvis, we also expand our ribs. right? So the baby's causing that, but so are we with crappy posture. So soft knees, neutral pelvis, close your French doors. And that triggers upper ab engagement, which is also important. So what happens is we're here all the time. Baby's like stretching us. So you got to counteract that. And the more you do your ab toning and those abs get to working to stay in towards the midline of the body, that can help alleviate that some. It could also be a position of baby. You might have a foot there, an elbow, or a butt. So a lot of that, like cat cow, hip circles, some yoga, all of those things can help move position of baby. Sometimes it's as simple as that. You just need them to move because they're causing you discomfort. And with that said, I love you guys dearly. I know that was a lot. I hope it was helpful. And if you're just like, I'm so confused, just slide in my DMs, girl, and we're going to work through it. Have a blessed night. I hope everyone's kid sleeps. And if you don't have kids yet, sleep as much as possible. I didn't listen to my friends. Just sleep. Sleep. You don't need to do the nursery. Just sleep. Oh, yes. They're going to send you the recording. I hope I recorded it. I did, I think. Okay. All right. Night, night, everybody. And